We are still in the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, yet it just continues. There seems to be no change. It just happens around us all the time. We've looked at the story of Tamar, the beautiful young daughter of King David, who was abused by her own half-brother in the household of David. And we are looking at the role that the men in her life plays in this abuse. Today we will look at Jonadab, the cousin, somebody who grew up with Tamar, somebody who knew her very well. Yet he played a big part in the abuse of his cousin. They say justice is blind. And in this instance I think justice is blind for the wrong reasons. Justice is blind to the plight of our women, to the plight of the Tamars in our society. A lady said to me a couple of days ago that if she has to advise anybody in her position, she would tell them to remain with the abuser. Because the moment you step out of this relationship, life doesn't change for you. It actually gets worse. The abuse just continues through our justice system. Why is that? Why do women say this? And that's not the advice we want to give to women. We want to encourage them to step away from abusive relationships. We want to encourage them to speak out when there are problems and go somewhere for help. So why is our justice blind? A lot of it I think has got to do with our Jonadabs, with those who advise the people in this situation. And the first one of these Jonadabs that I wanted to speak to you today about is what I call the sucker-ups. Those are people who have no authority in their own, and they suck up to authority. They suck up like Jonadab did to Amnon. Amnon was the king to be, so Jonadab was never going to be king. But if he was in good favor with Amnon and Amnon became king, then Jonadab would have been in a very good position. And so we see, even in our children court, that we have these people who's not got the qualifications to make decisions, yet they advise those who are supposed to be making the decisions. I've heard how people say that they are the ones who decide what happens in that court. The magistrate looks at them and they are the ones who decide what's right in their eyes or what's wrong. And so these sucker-ups rules a kingdom they shouldn't be ruling. And they give advice not for the sake of the Tamars and the victims and the children like everybody claimed to be looking out for, but for their own, just for their own sake of empowerment. And it's a dangerous situation, very dangerous. The second Jonadabs that we want to take a look at today is those who advise the Amnons, and even those who advise the victims. Amnon lusted after his sister. He wanted something he should not have, and so Jonadab comes to him and he advises him on a plan. And Amnon, being of the narcissistic character that he is, he goes and takes this plan to David. And he's so good at manipulating that he manipulates David into allowing Tamar into his room where she's in danger. And we see this with lawyers. We see this with lawyers. Lawyers who claim that their first concern is the children in this situation, but yet say words like that I'll eat that woman alive just because she doesn't like her. And then it becomes personal and it's got nothing to do with the children, but with what she wants, this lawyer. These are real stories. Then we've got all these other advisors around the courts, the social workers. For instance, a friend of mine 2 days ago said, for 15 years his daughter is in the system. For 15 years she's getting abused through the system. By people who advise without really knowing what they're doing. He said that his daughter's ex-husband 2 years ago killed the children's puppy with a spade in a spate of anger. And now he just turns to the social worker and says to her, I'm a changed man. I'm a changed man. Yeah, sure. He's manipulating her. And the social worker comes to his daughter and say, don't you want to give him another chance with the children? He's a changed man. He's not a changed man. He's manipulating. And the abuse continues and Tamar remains desolate. Another woman said to me a while ago that for 3 years she was fighting in the system. She's drained emotionally, she's drained financially, so she decided to give up. She walked away, and now every 2 weeks on the weekend her ex gets the children, and then he continues to abuse through the children to get to her, and then after the weekend for 2 weeks she must pick up pieces, try to put us together just for it to start all over again when the second weekend comes. This is how Tamar remains desolate. When the lawyer tells a woman, prepare yourself for this fight for the next 10 years at least, it's never going to stop. Is our justice blind to the plight of the Tamars in our society? Is those who give advice all in it just because for their own sake? Are they really in it for the children? Are they really looking out for the victims in this situation? There is something wrong. When our own president said that when he becomes president, that he will change the system to a victim-based system. It's sad that it's not happened yet. But we all are Jonadabs in a sense. We all build a society that thrive on violence. We tell jokes that normalizes these situations, that makes it seem okay if somebody is abusive. A joke like the one I heard not so long ago, where a guy said, you don't hit a woman, you kick the knees from underneath her, and when she lies on the ground you kick in the face, that way you won't hurt your hands. That's not funny. That's just normalizing something that's very, very ugly and terrible. That's a Jonadab. We need to stop doing these things. We need to stop giving advice to the Amnons. Instead, let's seek help for them. Don't give them advice and help that will continue the abuse, but rather get help for them that will help them to be healed. Let's help to heal our society. Let's think of this the next time we give advice, the next time we speak out or tell a joke. Let's not build a society that abuses a Tamar and keeps her in desolation. In the next clip we will look at David's role in the Tamar story. Until then, God bless.